Hey, everybody, in this episode of the MacGyver After Show, we're breaking down Season 1, Episode 15, Magnifying Glass. Find out what happens when Mac and the team head to San Francisco to take on the Zodiac Killer. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I feel like this is like a little...
It's like a little poppy.
Yeah, a little poppy version. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the MacGyver After Show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Of course, Mike and I are here breaking down every episode of MacGyver happening this season on CBS. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at @HaveToGoJackie.
And I'm the other host, Mike Kalinowski. You can find me at Mike Kalinowski.
Look at that.
That's a mouthful right there.
That's right. And you can also find him sitting right here at this delightful table.
Well, that's
looking
true.
handsome. Yes. Now, folks, you can like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also hop in the chat as well. Share your thoughts about what do you think about the series in general or this episode in particular. Now, of course, MacGyver is airing this season on CBS. Friday nights, 8 o'clock, right before Hawaii Five-0.
Yep.
But CBS doing something really cool as well. They're also working on their CBS All Access digital streaming platform.
That's where I watch it on. I watch it on my right here a lot of the times.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
I'll sit at work and watch it on my break.
That's perfect.
It does work really cool.
And I know they've got a lot of other great shows in development, including they did Big Brother earlier back in the fall. They did a special edition of Big Brother. They're working on Star Trek Discovery.
Which that's going to be exciting.
I cannot wait for that.
They keep pushing that back. It seems like the showrunner kind of had to leave, and it seems like every time they do something big announcement, it's like, oh, it's being pushed back. But
you can't reach perfection.
No, it always seems like there's always been a Star Trek show on TV, except for the past since Enterprise. So
yeah,
it's got to be almost over a decade now.
So let's get one back on there. But that's not all they're working on. In fact, we've got a new series debuting just this coming Sunday, a week from today.
Oh,
it's going to be if you love The Good Wife. Then you want to be in for the next chapter, which is The Good Fight. As I said, it's the next chapter of the Good Wife story. It's CBS's all-access original series set in the world of The Good Wife, and it's from the creators of The Good Wife. Robert and Michelle King continue as the showrunners, and Christine Baranski reprises her role as Diane Lockhart. Now, she's at the end of her career, planning retirement, but loses everything in a Ponzi scheme and now has to rebuild her life.
Oh.
Kush Jumbo reprises her role as Luca Quinn. Luca's finding her footing after joining a new law firm. And Rose Leslie joins the cast as Mia Rindell. Maya is just beginning her career as a lawyer when her father is accused of starting the Ponzi scheme that ruined Diane. Now, one thing about The Good Wife, though, they always had fantastic guest stars on there.
That was very good casting.
Yes, we're talking about like Michael J. Fox, other characters like that. You're going to see great guest stars on The Good Fight as well, including Carrie Preston, Gary Cole, and Matthew Perry. And can't get enough Gary Cole in your life.
No, that's Mike Brady.
That's right.
He did the Brady Bunch remake.
Now, just like Good Wife, The Good Fight will not shy away from controversial issues of the day, and new episodes will be released on CBS All Access Sundays beginning February 19th. That is 1 week from today.
That is.
To start your free trial of CBS All Access, go to cbs.com/goodfight.
Interesting.
Yeah, look at that. I love seeing networks like increasing their new streaming content.
Okay, so I watch MacGyver. Maybe it's not on CBS All Access because I don't pay for it. It's just the app online.
Oh, there you go.
So, but maybe that access is kind of like their Netflix, Amazon. It's digital content.
Yeah, I think it's great for the app will let you access current seasons of what's airing, and then if you wanted to look back at past seasons of shows,
gotcha.
You want to go to CBS All Access so you can access the vast CBS library of programming.
So they're kind of like doing their own Netflix thing.
Yeah, because I know they took in like all the CSIs, things like that. They moved them all over to that.
I wonder how long before the other shows catch up. Or the other networks, I should say.
Yeah, I know, like NBC, ABC, Fox.
Yeah.
When Fox is going to start like streaming every episode of Married with Children, who knows? Oh, fingers crossed. But this episode, folks, tying back into another CBS show, we're talking about MacGyver. That's the name of the show. Let's break it down. This episode,
I might be in the wrong building if it's not.
No,
okay.
I'm going to just come out right first, and I don't know how you feel. I was not a huge fan of this episode.
This is, again, like I talked a couple times, there's always like it seems like there's a handful of ideas that shows like this always kind of dip into. They dip into the one location, which we have with like the embassy episode, the prison episode. This one is someone in the main cast needs help. So they kind of break from, hey, this is a mission of the week. It's hey, someone in the cast needs help. I thought it was going to be Riley, like someone from her past was going to come in.
Yeah.
But it's obviously the new leaders. family member. It was a nephew, right?
Goddaughter.
Goddaughter.
So speaking of Maddie Weber, before we get into this episode in particular and our thoughts about it, I just wanted to jump back with you since you weren't here last week to kind of really see. I don't know if you had a chance to watch last week's episode yet. Or
No. I jumped ahead.
Okay, but just in terms of what are you feeling so far about Maddie Weber as the new head of the Phoenix Foundation?
I don't know. Her dialogue, and again, I don't know if it's the actress or if it's the dialogue. Like Bose or Justin Hines, I'm not feeling him anymore.
Really?
And I don't know if because he's getting the bad dialogue, or if he's just playing a caricature.
It does seem like
a lot of his, and I think that's him though. So I think I can't fault him as an actor. I think that's him. That kind of put upon. It's hard to say.
If
His
I could
dialogue,
see it.
and so I don't know if it's his dialogue combined with just his person, who he is, and the way he talks. It just, and for her as well. That's why not to sidetrack, but her. I don't know if it's the writing with her, but she seems like she's playing tough.
Yeah.
Like Thornton, that actress didn't play tough to me. She was just cold, and that's who she was.
But she came off as tough for sure.
Yeah, but she just played cold, and it worked. But this girl, and I don't know, it just seems like the way she's punctuating certain lines at the time, but it's some of the dialogue she says. It has nothing to do with her acting. It's what she's been given to say.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it just doesn't read. I like the dynamic, but it just seemed like. I don't know yet. It's hard to describe with her.
It's interesting with Bozer. I almost feel like he's become just like the multi-purpose tool for a plot. Like if we need
what's
something
the
to
word?
happen,
The Deus Ex Machina. Is that what it is? Like kind of like the go-to. If we need something, he's doing it.
Yeah,
he was doing everything this episode.
like he just happens to know this, or he has this obscure like fact in his head, and he happens to know about it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess we complained enough about him,
not being there.
Yes.
And now
we've got what we wanted, and now we're still not happy.
I guess. Yeah, that's typical of fans of shows like this.
Yeah, I mean, and like this episode, I still don't know how I feel about it. I'm not really on the Maddie Weber bandwagon yet.
Yeah, I was not either. I don't know. Something is just not gelling with me.
What I will say is the one thing, and last episode, she has a bunch of evaluations with the whole core team, but the last one that she has is with MacGyver, and she's not a huge fan of the way MacGyver improvises in the field.
Yeah,
thinks that's reckless. Think that's people that do that end up dead.
Yeah. What was interesting, not to jump to the end of the episode, but since we're talking about that one thing, I didn't really feel this as a MacGyver episode. Like, I don't mean the show MacGyver. I mean Mac himself. He seemed kind of like... It seemed like a Jack episode. Even though the killer had nothing to do with Jack personally.
Yeah.
He was the driving force in this episode, I felt. I felt a bunch of... And so at the end, when she talked about Mac and his this and that, helping the team and this and I was just kind of like, well, yeah, he was there. But I don't know. He just didn't feel... is integral to the scene or the focus of the episode.
No, it felt weird having Mac do his thing in a different sort of genre, so to speak.
Yeah, that was it was definitely different for the show. This whole now you said you didn't care for it. I actually liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just like I felt like I don't know because I'm all up for like a show kind of tweaking its formula.
Right.
You never want to get it too repetitive where you can get ahead of the plot. But I don't know if it like this one just and as much as I always I've always been intrigued by the Zodiac Killer and seeing the David Fincher film and reading about that.
So now speaking of that, because I remember the film, and I don't know enough about the actual Zodiac Killer, but that mask is that is that what he wore? That like shopping bag thing? I don't remember that from the movie. I don't remember that at all like that, and I don't remember that to me. I should have looked up before we came on today, but I was just like. Is that what he wore? Because I don't remember. It stood out to me with that giant, like, square bag on his head.
But the glasses, too. Don't forget.
He did wear the glasses. I do remember that. And I don't think the symbol was as pronounced on his jacket. But I know that was his symbol.
Yeah.
But
I
don't know. I wasn't there.
So to jump back to my one thought about Maddie Weber, as we'll get to this episode, but there's that one scene where he's going to try to lift up the dust to uncover the footprint. Mm-hmm. And she just starts, like, stomping him. Like, stop. Whoa. You have to explain to me what you're doing. And I was like, this scene's a killer. Like where she was just like, like
the brakes on everything.
Yes. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, please, this is killing me with this.
Yeah. But I guess I think they were just trying to show that this girl is not used to, like, Thornton recruited him for this, so she knew what she was getting. This is a woman, Maddie, is kind of like a ballsy, no nonsense girl who's like dealt with like Dalton type characters.
True.
The militaristic, and here's Mac, who's kind of this oddball. So I think they're just trying to show that, but I don't think we needed it.
But it's like, I feel like Mac's track record
speaks for itself.
Yeah, and so for her to say, like, you've been lucky so far, but lucky people end up getting killed. Like, well,
is he lucky? Didn't they in this movie list off everything they've already done? They like stopped the virus from being released, saved this and that, and they were like listing off their resume. And I'm just like, yeah, they got a good track record.
Yeah, so maybe just give this guy the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So she seems to start warming up. But
what? This is interesting for me, being that she's a person of different stature. Was the way that they filmed the episode, because you got to take that into account. Your director of photography has to account for that, because when you've got people in the scenes with her, that's a different. You can't use the same camera angles and camera lenses that you would do for someone that were of the same height. A lot of times when you're putting people on Apple boxes, even if that's just a couple inches different.
Yeah.
But she's a good couple feet shorter than some of those guys. So, but the way they framed it, and every time they had everyone sitting a lot, and she would be standing next to him. And when you take it out of context, it's like, oh, it looks, you couldn't tell. So it's very interesting for me to see a film. This is the first series, aside, I guess, from Seinfeld, when they had, I think his name is Danny Woodburn on there, a lot on the show, that I've seen a little person in a prominent role like this that's a series regular. So it's cool from a filmmaking standpoint to watch it, to see how they change it and adapt, and how it really doesn't affect it at all.
And like, this is really like her third episode in. So we've got like the new Thornton, and she's certainly much more pricklier than
that's a good word, pricklier. That is a very good word.
Than Thornton was. And so I guess like an episode like this is supposed to maybe show a little bit of the softer side. Like she's a godmother.
Yeah.
She's been in this situation where her goddaughter's now been killed and her boyfriend, and she needs help kind of trying to get some answers to what's happened.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I don't feel any more, like, I didn't come away from this episode going, man, I feel much more empathetic towards Maddie Weber now. I don't.
That leads me to what I was saying. It's like, I just don't know if it's the dialogue she's been given, or if, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to warm up.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
So we do start the episode off with Maddie's goddaughter and her boyfriend talking in a park. She just got a scholarship. She's going to be heading off when all of a sudden a car pulls up, and a person very much resembling the Zodiac murders comes out and kills the two of them. And then we just have a nice little throwaway moment, as we always do, over the Phoenix Foundation, where Mac and Poser are building a robot.
Yeah, we're building a Terminator robot.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And we get Jack just not really liking the idea of robotics, man. It just lays a smackdown on the robot when it pops up. I don't know about that scene. That scene, I was like, man, that just felt a little too corny for me.
Yeah. There's something about the show. Sometimes it hits, sometimes on all cylinders, and other times it just, I think they're just, they've got 60 some odd pages of script to fill, and they feel like they need to add something. I don't.
Yeah, because like, if you think of, and certainly a totally different format, but like the X-Files, they do their Monster of the Week, but then sometimes they kind of break something and do like more of a humorous episode, like Clint Bruckman's Final Repose or something like that.
I did like seeing Mac doing stuff in the Foundation somewhere. Like, he wasn't just popping in for missions. He had a workshop or whatever. I did like that. But okay, he's building a robot. It's kind of
unless that I can only hope that robot plays into prominence sometime later in the season. Now it's time, Bozer, activate the robot. So Maddie does call them in though, and tells them all about what's happened with their goddaughter, and that she's going to go up to San Francisco, and she could really use the team's help. It's not a sanctioned mission.
Nope.
In fact,
you can say no if you want.
Yeah. Given the fact, who's going to say no?
No.
One, she's your new boss, so you want to look good. But then also, it's somebody that's actually lost a family member.
Yeah.
So, of course you're going to go help. So they go up to San Francisco, and it turns out, though, the Bozer, he knows quite a bit about the Zodiac murders. That's his convenient plot knowledge.
Of course he does.
Yes. So he starts bringing in a lot of the background that they'll need to kind of get more information, which I guess I don't know. As much as I'm interested by that, I guess I couldn't name all the specific people that were involved in
Right.
that were killed.
Yeah.
Dates, things like that. But I also feel like at least I have like a general. Like, it seemed like the Jack, who should have an idea about this. I mean, he was probably alive, or when these things happened. Like he seemed like he was like, this is one of these Zodiac murders. Like, Jack, how do you not know at least some details about this?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But they go up and we have him at the wake, meeting the Godfather's mother.
The mother.
Yep. And then we find out they get led on like kind of a bit of a goose chase, and they kind of get the idea that perhaps that copycat killer is involved.
Right. That was kind of when they start talking about that. I'm like, okay, all right, that happens a lot. You hear about copycats and stuff in movies, and I will say this: I wasn't sure throughout the episode if it was because they had hypothesized that maybe because of the right age, where he would be, and stuff like that, could be the same guy. I was like, oh, because they never did kill. I don't think they never did find the Zodiac Killer. He's never been caught.
Very true.
And I was kind of like, oh, okay, so yeah, it was an interesting choice. I'm curious why they went with this, but yeah, so it was something different.
True, but I also feel like this is like you never really see like when you you mentioned the idea of like, oh, maybe the Zodiac Killer's still alive and well right now in 2017, and he's still killing. Now he's got a thirst for it, and he's back out doing it some more. Would a show be that daring to then just say like, you know what? Yes, we're gonna pick a name of somebody that may have been around in the active investigation back then that could still be alive now, and say that they are the Zodiac murder.
Oh, okay.
Would that have been interesting?
I didn't even think about that. I don't know.
Because you couldn't make it just like a fake name of somebody that had never been brought up in the investigation. Yeah, that would seem so weird to me.
Yeah, it was interesting that they went with a real killer. They could have created something. Yeah. But they didn't.
Because I think I would have been more interested in, like, I think the idea of the Zodiac Killer coming back out in 2017, like doing that, maybe been a little bit more ridiculous, an older man like that. Yeah. But also maybe, like, interesting. Just if a show decided, like, all right, we're just going to pick a name and do this. But then how does, when you're dealing with real people, how do you react to that? Some poor guy in his 70s getting called out, like, you're the Zodiac murderer. That's what we think. Yeah. Deal with it, guy. Yeah. What's interesting, too, when you're dealing with something like this, being Zodiac Killer, I thought he was in the 70s, but they had mentioned he started in the 60s. But I thought he was the 70s too. But anyway, I think probably started both, which is technology nowadays. This show relies so much on Riley and that computer and laptop stuff. Nothing she can't do. And it just seems like such a cop-out sometimes. It just... Like, she's always on the computer. Oh, I've already got this going. Here's this. Here's this. We'll check on eBay. Here's this. Here's this. And I guess I kind of missed the old school MacGyver, where they didn't have computers. They weren't really, or if they did, they were the size of this room we're in right now. Yeah. So I think, but you can't not address it. You can't not use it. It's part of culture now. But I think, I don't know. Nowadays with computers, it's kind of, I don't know how I feel about it, you know. There's so much computer stuff in this, that she's solving this and that, and his computer, then this, and, you know. I mean, I guess that in one way that can speed up aspects of the story. Yeah. That would you rather see a scene of those things being quickly brought up and addressed and either acted on, or would you rather see them doing the active investigation? Here's a good example, then, I guess I should say. 24 uses computers, but it doesn't ever feel like a crutch. Even one of their main... Chloe, you know, one of the greatest kind of computer technicians on television, that character-wise, but it never felt like this, the way this show's written, with Riley and that computer and a couple keystrokes and it's solved. True. It just, I don't know. I can't speak for if it's the show is using it because it's time constraints and they got to move point A to point B to point C, but 24. I never felt watching it. Oh, here she goes on the computer again, solving this problem. I mean, I guess the luxury with that is it's told essentially in real time, so you could take the real amount of time it takes to do that, and it doesn't seem like you're... the answer right there. Yeah, it just seems like I think they could cut back so much of that computer stuff. It just, you know, because it's an actor sitting in front of a screen. We're disconnected from it. To me. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about like the times when Riley's out in the field with them, even if she has the computer, she's doing stuff, is more engaging than when she's isolated and she's sitting in a hotel room somewhere. Maybe that's what it is. She doesn't have,
it's not like an ops center.
Yes.
Where there's lots of technicians and she's part of like a think tank. Because Phoenix Foundation's a think tank, so I'm sure they've got the level where there's all people on computers and this and that, but it's always her in one room looking at one little screen. It just, I don't know, it just... Again, this could be so petty by me, you know. I don't know.
But that makes me want to have an episode told from the perspective of other members of the Phoenix Foundation and what they really think of MacGyver and the rest of the team. Like, who's this Riley lady that never has to hang down here with us with her cubes? She's always up in this office doing stuff.
Right.
Well, she hasn't sat her cube in months.
Look at this thing. Look at it. Dead dirt. She thinks she'll mind if I take that coffee mug? Riley's always in that. Yeah, she's never at her desk.
Who's this guy Bozer? He just comes right in, and all of a sudden, like he's going out on missions. What's going on? And this weird robot's creeping me out. It just sits there.
It just at her desk.
Yeah. So we figured like there could be a copycat killer.
Yeah.
I do like Bozer comparing the new letters with the originals, and it's a match. But I do like the revelation later that it's an exact match, meaning that this copycat killer scanned in the original letters and made his own font.
The fact that as you get older, your handwriting is not the same. I thought that was cool. That was unique.
That's true. I mean, mine is just basically just like just lines.
My handwriting is atrocious.
It is.
Atrocious. My signature when I have to sign, it's boring. I've even got to the point like I'll be down doing something. I'll have to sketch notes for myself to either remind something or I'm working on something. I want to write something down, and I write it. And as I'm writing it, I'm going, "Oh my God, this is terrible. I'm not going to remember this in a couple hours. What this is if I don't start correcting this." But I just keep going, and then sure enough, 2 days later, I'm like, "What the fuck? Did I just? What am I writing here? What is this?
What does this even mean?"
God,
I don't
it's
understand.
Terrible. Grown man, and I learned. Nowadays kids that probably in school is a little different. But I had to learn. Cursive. What cursive and what's non-cursive called?
I've heard
not freehand. Cursive and straight
line.
Straight line. I don't know what it's called. There's a term for it. But we had to learn the two of them.
But I've rumor is word on the street. Somebody I mentioned that they're no longer teaching cursive in school. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but it'd be weird to think of cursive.
Penmanship is a dying art. I think that sucks.
I was always envious of anybody that studied architecture and had that great lettering
or calligraphy.
Those
people that can write calligraphy
so easily, man. I was always envious of any architecture student they're writing.
I mean, I guess it is a dying art. Email and everything.
Yeah,
I like sending letters still. I still have letters.
This desk looking awfully empty. There's no correspondence coming this way.
No correspondence.
Yeah, maybe a letter if you want to slap me one next one.
All right.
Just some thoughts you've had during the week. Just share them with me in a letter form. So we do have one misdirect because we have Bozer getting in the taxi, and I thought the way they set it up that it was going to be like
yes, and I don't know if they did it on purpose, but I think he had gloves on. And they never showed his face.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, here we go.
It's like, way to go, Bozer.
Yeah.
That's it. See you later, buddy.
Because that was to me, he walks out and he's like, cab comes right up. I was like, there was no one on that street. There were no cabs going by. But, and that's what made me think. It's like, oh, here we go. Wait, going back though, so they went into that one place, that apartment, and they found the squatter there.
Yes. They found the squatter.
He kind of listed off that the Zodiac is 70s, old, walks the limp, this and that.
Yeah.
Which kind of strengthened their resolve that, this is the guy.
This is the guy. And then that's also when they used the Mac finally busted out his like sucking up the dust from the footprint to be able to kind of figure out it's a boot that somebody like the Zodiac was known to have worn. 10.5 shoe.
That they went and found and sold on eBay to only a certain amount of people. Okay, I believe that. Now, I'm trying to remember in the episode, is this before or after they're sitting in the car staking the place out? Because that moment led to my favorite moment of the entire episode.
Okay, go ahead.
Where they're sitting in the car, the guy comes knocking on the door. He's like, "Your letter," and back, he just pulls the gun on him. I loved that. That to me was so good. Just his reaction when he gets those moments like that. You walking up to a car in the middle of the night with two guys in it. What are you, crazy? But then their interview. But this was the scene that did not ring true to me. Was then they've got that poor guy. Hey, they paid me $100. And then he's like chained, and Maddie's giving him like the water torture almost. They're going to waterboard this poor guy. Yeah. It's like this didn't see.
No, that seems.
And that guy looks strung out at this point. I'm like, this didn't.
This is not your guy.
He'd be standing or sitting in the room, and they'd be talking over him, not basically chained to a chair.
Yeah.
getting the 10th degree from Maddie. I was like, that scene. And again, it leads to the way I feel with her she's playing tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, really? What is? Yeah, I get you're upset and you're stressed because this is a family member and you're going to do everything you can, but it just didn't seem right. I don't know.
I mean, it
I
seems...
digress.
Well, no, because I can understand that, but just because, as we're talking about her stature and stuff, there's something like Thornton could come in and just stand there and be imposing.
Yeah.
Because you also feel like, just, height-wise, she would be able to probably...
She's a tall woman. And
could take this person, giving her probably her fighting background or training.
Yeah.
That I could easily, mop the floor with somebody. But you have somebody like Maddie, tougher for her to be in a fight sequence, I think. And make it look convincing.
I would think so.
Yes.
That would be interesting. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Maybe they will.
So I feel like then does that become like, so she can't really do that, so she has to just talk up the tough crap part?
I think for her, it worked really good in her first appearance because for the whole episode they built her up.
Mm-hmm.
So when she finally came in, she had the baggage that we had as a ball buster. But that was for, Dalton had spent years under her working with her. But now for people that don't know her, like this guy being interrogated, I don't know.
And we do come out of last week's episode for the evaluations that the person that was probably it seemed like Mac and Bozer were probably most nervous, especially Bozer given his tenuous
yes.
employment at the Phoenix Foundation, is probably the one that Maddie likes the best. So
yeah,
because he was able to speak truth to power, and Maddie liked that. So Bozer being Bozer said, I think you're wrong. Because I have this convenient plot knowledge in this episode that will help you save the day. So Mac does his thing after Maddie wants him to stop and explain every single thing that you're doing to me.
All right, we're wasting precious time, but okay. All right,
great. They end up tracking it down to the address of this person that supposedly received these boots.
Yeah.
That the Zodiac Killer had, and they look at the house and it's seems like very Leave It to Beaver.
Yes. What did they say? We were expecting 7, but we got Leave It to Beaver. I think that's kind of cool.
And what was nice to see, Jack get the the light bulb going off in his head.
But he did, but he's like, hold on, I'm doing that thing. And they're like, you thinking? He's like, yeah, that's it. They sometimes make him so stupid.
Yes.
And he's not. He's survived as long as he can. He's the street smarts guy.
Yeah. But it was nice to see him having that moment as opposed to always feeling like...
And again, that was almost one of those ones where MacGyver would figure it out. But Jack really seemed at the forefront of this episode a lot. Which I liked. I like his characters, and especially in this episode.
And what was interesting is that when Mac gets the idea of taking the Wi-Fi router and kind of coming up with this kind of almost like sonar in a sense.
Right.
Maddie doesn't stop him from what are you doing? You're tearing apart this guy's, this equipment here. Break down exactly what you're doing to me. No explanation the second time around.
Yeah.
He's just doing his thing, and he finds out that there's a hidden room in there.
There was?
Yeah. Full of a treasure trove. But
photocopied stuff, not...
Yes.
The originals, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, still gives you up in the air about is it the real Zodiac? Is it still a copycat?
Mm-hmm.
What's the deal? Yeah, you're right. And then we, as Riley's tracking down the copycat, she puts the headphones on to get to work, and she's like, "All right." In
a hotel room on her computer. I'm like,
nobody else is in the room. You could play your music right now and it'd be fine.
Yeah, it's true.
You're not interrupting.
She's one of those people. She needs the headphones on.
Do you?
I don't, but
yeah. Well, I mean, do you put the headphones on if you're doing anything? I mean, other than if you're at the gym or you're working out or something, headphones might be worth it. But if you're just at home on the computer and doing something, would you put?
But it's again, I'm not one of those people. But there are people that love those giant headphones. I use the little Apple Buds.
Yeah.
For my headphones, people with those giant bows, giant soup cans on their sides of their heads. They look, oh, the sound is so good. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No.
So then guy's coming in the door.
Yes.
But they cheated. We didn't get to see how he gets through it.
Yeah.
Because he had the chain on it.
Yes.
But I've seen videos. It's not the chain. In a hotel, they've got the lever that flips over it. Yeah. I've seen in videos how people get in. They break through those. Not break through, but they're able to put something in there and it unhooks it. It's a very simple to get out of those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've seen that done.
Oh, well, I guess I
was expecting that,
but
but they used the chain, so I'm just like, they cheated it. We didn't get to see it.
Yeah, and then we see it from her, from his perspective, kind of getting closer and closer, and then she gets abducted by.
I like him in the laptop screen. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
freaky. You abducted him.
Abducted. Leaves a letter behind though.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
for them to find out.
Yes. Because Bozer does make it successfully back, but there is those cigarette butts.
Right.
Strewn right out there in front.
Yeah. So, And then I'm trying to remember what happened with. How do they decide? So they get back together, and then who was it now? Because Riley's gone. That finds who was on the laptop screen pulling it up? Was it Bozer? Because they're trying to locate the film.
Yeah, and so
they decided that the film was the one.
Mac actually got onto it, but okay. Bozer,
because he was the one locked it up. He's like, I'm the creepy guy. That was pretty funny. That scene was pretty funny because they're all like, dude, how do you know? Because you're standing next to her? That's kind of creepy, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, creepy guy. Like, that was pretty funny.
Just getting your creep on, man. It came in handy this time.
It did.
But they're able to pull up the information for the searches that she was doing, and Mac figures out like a good location for this person could be hiding out is next to a movie theater because the original Zodiac Killer was originally like passionate about films.
He's and everything they've established this entire episode is it's either the guy or it's a copycat, but the copycat is so good. He's doing everything that the original would do. Yeah. So down to the boots and everything like that. So that's kind of cool.
They also find some information on Orwell as well, who ended up dying, passed away.
He was the guy that was the owner of the house.
Yes.
So they kind of eliminated
him.
Like
a slumlord kind of deal, yeah. So they eliminated him, but then they figure out that stuff about the lettering. Mac figures out the copycat is at a movie theater, and then the copycat's talking to Riley. And I do like Riley says, you can just let me go. I haven't seen your face.
You did now.
I'm like, oh, all right. That'll show you, huh? But you can't pull the trigger on Riley because, as Riley says, you're not doing it like there's no murder like this.
Yeah, I like that she was smart enough to call his bluff. You know, he's so strict on the rules, he's not going to break them right now, which was kind of cool. Bought himself some time.
Yeah, being a little slave to that ritual there. And so Mac and Jack, to create a distraction, just get one of the film canisters and set it on fire. That was pretty cool.
Because you poured like a chemical on it. I don't know if it was a processing, like, what's that stuff called? The processing fluid. It looked like. Because they had all the film stuff around. That was kind of cool. It rolled and exploded.
That took a while for that thing to roll down. And I figured, like, wouldn't there would be no reaction by the Zodiac Killer to, like, hearing something rolling down the hall? Yeah, like the aisle.
What the fuck is that?
It wasn't until it exploded. Like, oh, all right, I better get out of here.
Yeah.
What I do like, though, is that it's Riley that takes him down.
Yes. I did like that, yeah, because they're chasing him.
Yeah.
So we at the point we talk about the reveal.
Oh yeah.
Did you think it was that guy?
No.
Which is okay. I'm of two thoughts of it. One, I didn't think it at all because when we met him earlier, if they could have gone two ways with it, they could have gone with what they went with, or they could have gone with a more well-known actor. Mm-hmm. But if they went that route, because it was a good part. It's a great part. If they went that route, when he's first the guy just slumming, you're like, this is too big a name an actor.
Yeah, it kind of
to have him in this little part. So okay, he's gonna come back. But they went the opposite way, and then because I looked up this actor, I've never seen him before, but he, I guess, had done like 4 years on Young and the Restless. He had like 900 episodes, and he's worked in a lot of different shows. So I think to the casting, he was a good. You know, he's a working actor that's been around.
But not big enough.
But we don't know him. We've never seen him, you know. So it worked for me. It was, they could have gone the other way, but that would have blown it. Kind of like a Kevin Spacey thing.
Gotcha.
It's Seven.
Yes.
You never saw Kevin Spacey's face, but if you did seen it earlier, it would have ruined the big reveal at the end.
Yeah.
Where if this was like, if you saw a famous actor or someone that you constantly see on TV in this slumming, you know, hanging out as a bum, you're like, okay, where's he gonna pop up again? He's the bad guy.
What's Noah Wiley doing in this episode? What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Noah Wiley was the bum.
We do find out though that it was the homeless guy, of course, and it was Orwell's son Wyatt.
Yeah, who's been kind of living off his dad's resources and kind of slumming in his different places. Which is okay.
And they do realize because right before he was getting into discussions with Riley, he was on the phone with somebody. And they're trying to figure out who's this person that he's speaking to. And they track it down to somebody in Hawaii. And this is what I like after this.
I think you and I are on the same page.
Go for it.
You go.
Where Dalton says, I got an old buddy on the island right there. Let me reach out to him. And then, of course, Maddie stops it from that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
He interrupts it for a second.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, all right. But, of course, we're talking about Hawaii Five-0.
Okay, so you were on the same page.
Yes.
I think that was cool. That was awesome.
Yes.
I was like, oh. I don't know the main character's name on Hawaii Five-0.
It's
Alex O'Loughlin. But
yes. It's McGarrett.
Dano. Bookham Dano. He's the other guy.
Yes.
But That to me was fantastic. I loved that.
Steve McGarrett.
I don't think we needed the name because we both got it. We both, picked up on it.
Yeah, and March 10th, they're doing the big crossover. MacGyver and Hawaii Five-0.
Was that at the very end of the episode?
No, it wasn't.
How did you know that?
I
'Cause I
read
did
that
not know
last
that.
week, that it's going to be happening. They're doing a big crossover between the two.
Oh, so it was set up anyway.
Yeah, but it's actually, it's not going to be with McGarrett or Bookham Dano. It's going to be with Daniel Day Kim and Linda Park will be the two that are going to be guest starring on the episode, which is still cool.
Yeah,
but...
you see, now I didn't know that going into this, and I love that they kind of name dropped in somewhat of a way Hawaii Five-0.
Yes.
I love the fact that they're in that same universe now. I think that's
cool.
fantastic. That to me is that kind of stuff is cool. I love that.
And what I like is that the ratings, at least the last several weeks, Hawaii Five-0 has been doing really well in the ratings. So I feel like at least one more season is in the cards.
For Hawaii Five-0?
For Hawaii
Yeah,
Five-0.
I think so.
And I feel like MacGyver is going to get at least one more season for sure. So
well, it got picked up for another one.
Oh, nice. Oh, did it already for a second season?
Didn't it?
I know it got picked up for a full season, but I don't know if
I could have sworn. I'm going to look that up for you guys, but I could have sworn they got a second season.
Oh, if they did, that's great. Because
you keep talking. I'm going to look it up right now for us.
I feel like then that extends the possibility of actually seeing McGarrett.
McGarrett, yeah. I could have sworn they got it. I'm going to look it right now for you guys. I apologize.
So yeah, that would be cool to see Alex O'Loughlin and yeah on the show and have the two of them. So, but regardless, I'll still take a chance for to just establish that those two universes are one and the same is very cool.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, so of course he's going to give his well, I guess that call is going to happen at some point. He's going to give his buddy who's in Hawaii on a task force a call. But then Mehdi then thanks everybody, but then talks to Mac and says, I have some real concerns about the way you work in the field, but appreciates what he did.
Yeah, it is a full season pickup. We don't know about a second season yet.
I'm feeling good.
I think it's going to get one. It still pulls great numbers.
Yeah,
it's still pulling really nice numbers for them.
So I could see that coming back. I could see the same lineup: Mac, MacGyver, Hawaii Five-0, Blue Bloods again.
Yeah, it's
next
a good
season.
lead-in. Yeah. It ended, like you'd said, she's kind of on board with him and his ways.
Yeah,
right?
I guess it's like.
Well, I think I'm kind of like, well, what are you gonna do? Fire him?
Yeah.
No, he gets results. He's unorthodox.
True. But yeah, because it's one of those things like it feels weird to have a superior have this kind of point of view because the name of the show is MacGyver.
Right.
So MacGyver knows what he does. He improvises, he plays off the cuff, but he succeeds. So it feels weird to have somebody saying like, I don't know if I like the way that you do this. And his track record, because he's the hero of the show.
Yeah. I just wish. I think we need a better sense of what the Phoenix Foundation is, and are there other teams? Are there other units out there where they're more straight-laced? Mac and Jax is kind of like the oddball.
Gotcha, like another counterpart where that version of MacGyver is much more straight by the rules and follows procedure.
Yeah,
I guess you
I
need to see.
I don't know the parameters of this Phoenix Foundation, because I know in that one episode when his ex was in it and they were at the church, they noticed, or the hotel, and they noticed the guys coming in and like, oh, that's our team. So they have a whole SWAT unit in the foundation, so they've got that kind of military backup. I don't know if they're, like you said, is there a computer room with all technicians and speaking to different units?
It would be cool if they did an episode where Jack and Mac had to pair off with another kind of like another fellow version of them in the Phoenix Foundation. It was more straight laced.
Yeah.
And then they had to switch partners. So Jack is with the straight laced MacGyver, MacGyver's with the straight laced Jack.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And just so you can see how they compare and contrast with other.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So now we can understand like how odd and how how different they are from everybody else. Because then you're right. I feel like all right, now I understand why
she has that problem.
Yes. But otherwise I'm thinking like, well, he's never really going to fail.
Yeah, she seems like the kind of girl, Maddie, that she does her research. She would not come into this blind. She would know what the team she's getting is involved in.
Yeah.
She could say up front, like, hey, look, I've read the dossiers. I've got all your mission logs. I don't understand what you do, but you get results. So, I'm going to keep you on a short leash until I'm comfortable with it. But, all right.
Yeah, that would seem to me make more sense. Because
the second guessing. And I was like, lady, look, you're slowing us down. Just let me work.
Yeah, because the option is what? They have MacGyver blow out one mission, and as she said last episode, if you ever screw up, then the word improvisation drops out of your vocabulary. So then that's not a show you want to watch where MacGyver has to just...
He's not good with a gun.
Yeah, and he just plays by the rules. That's not a show you want to watch. So by that sense, he's never going to screw up. So like this seems like a terrible...
dead end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going to go. But as we wrap up, any final thoughts about the episode?
I did like it, and now the more talking with you, I don't know if I like it as much.
Oh,
I did like it.
I'm always
maybe it was just because I knew it was what type of episode it was. Being the friend or someone in the team needs help outside of mission parameter, outside of the scope of what they're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that episode was going to come sometime at some point. I thought it was going to be Riley. I thought Riley, like some bad seed from her past, is going to be caught in some kind of, his former cohorts are going to kill him if he doesn't pull off this job, and she's got to help him, and she has to have the team help pull off some kind of criminal enterprise. That's what I was expecting, not to have the lead girl, which kind of turned it on its head,
Yeah, it's. I'm all up for shows kind of tweaking their format and exploring different storytelling potential or possibilities, but I just wish this one had been just a little bit better executed. I just felt like it just didn't quite grab me as much as I hoped it would have.
Okay.
But, it's just one episode, I feel like even if it wasn't my cup of tea, I'm sure it was many others people satisfied with it, or maybe the producers and the writers kind of saw what worked and what didn't work about approaching something like this, and the next time they try something like this, they can make sure everything's firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Why don't we do a quick round of predictions before we get the heck out of here?
All right.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
You go first.
Well, as I mentioned, March 10th, we're doing a nice crossover with Hawaii Five-0, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Now, are they coming to...
They're going to Hawaii.
Oh.
Yeah, Mac and Jack heading to Hawaii.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So I imagine hanging out in the Hawaii Five-0 sets. Yeah. That'll be cool. I'm all down for that.
And that show films in Hawaii. I mean, I'm sure people know that, but that was something I didn't know until last year when I started getting auditions for the show. It shoots in Hawaii. The whole thing. Yeah. Everything.
And interesting,
that's really cool.
Like Alex O'Loughlin just talking about, the strain that can, after years and years and years.
The strain of shooting in Hawaii?
Yeah.
The strain?
Well, just if you start trying to live back here on the state side, and then having to travel to Hawaii and shoot.
It's gotta suck. It's gotta suck, doesn't it?
Yeah.
9 months out of the year living in Hawaii. Come on now. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. If you've got a family, that's probably, into the family, if your wife or whatever works, that's got to suck. That's got to suck.
Way to feign empathy. I like that.
Yeah, it is very feign empathy with me with my one dog. That would suck though for me because I don't think I could bring my dog. I don't think you can transport animals to Hawaii.
Unless you were living there. I can imagine if you decided to be a resident, I know you
can't bring them because I have friends that work in Japan. You can't bring an animal. It's just something about traveling with the animals you can't.
Yeah.
But I don't know if because Hawaii not part of the continental United States, I don't know if the same laws apply.
I would think since it is still part of the United States.
Yeah, but I don't know the rules, and that would suck. That would suck for me.
As long as it's not a snake, I think you're okay. So the one thing I'm curious about though is that are we going to see any more resolution with this opposite organization that they've been going up against?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Are we going to be seeing Murdoch? Are we going to do any follow-up with MacGyver's father?
This was complete standalone. We got none of that other stuff ever hinted at, which is cool. I mean,
no, we still got I guess a couple more months worth of episodes.
How many more episodes we got?
This is episode 15, so if it's 22, 7. Yeah. So I figure at least
yeah, they've got to.
Yeah, Murdoch's got to appear at least one more.
They have got to be thinking right now. Well, I shouldn't say that because right now we're getting ready for pilot season. Some pilots are already starting to cast. CBS, I'm sure they've got their picks for what they want to shoot pilots for. And that's always they always look at their schedule like, okay, we've got, this is not performing well, but these shows we want to greenlight for pilots. Maybe we can drop that. So I think that's all probably nebulous right now. As far as, because the finale, is it going to be a season finale? Is it going to be a show finale?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a season.
I think it's going to be. I think it'll come back. I honestly, if not a full season, they'll get a half season order.
Odds are that it's a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You feel 100? 100%?
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's coming back one way or the other. It's either going to get another full 22 or it's going to get like 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming back.
I feel like it's got to be a cool cliffhanger.
It just gets strong numbers.
Yeah.
You know, it pulls strong numbers. And it's a good lead-in for Hawaii Five-0, which does well for them.
That's true.
Yeah.
We need more crossovers between the two of them. And then we also, since they've crossed over with NCIS, then we can have a huger universe.
So it is part of the universe, which is really cool.
It's like the CBS version of, like the Marvel Universe.
There you go.
There you go.
It's all interconnected.
The CBS universe.
Yeah.
Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of the MacGyver After Show. Thanks for joining us, everybody. But, the fun doesn't start here. It doesn't start here.
It doesn't stop here either, though. It kind of just happens.
You can like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and thanks everybody for hopping in the chat, sharing your thoughts about this show. If you want to continue the conversation with us even after the show is over, if you want to just talk to Mike about how awesome he is on Jane the Virgin, Mike, where can they find you?
You can find me at Mike Kalinowski on Twitter. Jane the Virgin, my first episode airs tomorrow night, Monday the 13th. I make my appearance on the show.
Yes!
So I'm on it right now, so we'll see. I've filmed a couple episodes so far. But tomorrow's my appearance where I join the cast.
Set your DVRs, folks!
So check me out there. I'm going to be a guest on the Jane the Virgin AFTERBUZZ show tomorrow night.
Awesome.
My first time being a guest on a show, which will be awesome. I get to talk with the host there for the show.
That's cool. And if you want some more comic book related information from Mike,
DC Movie News. I'm DC Movie News right here on Popcorn Talk Network.
And your DC Character Corner?
DC Character Corner. It's all there.
Look at that.
So your go-to source for all things DC.
Love it, love it, folks. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Just look at my gram for a lot of pictures of food.
Look at it. If you like food porn, look at this man's Instagram. It's ridiculous. It's insane.
It's stupid.
And I'm still gonna live with the fact. I want to live it. That is to me. Every time you post, that's what you're eating right then.
Please believe that. That is
exact because you look as good as you do.
Oh, please.
And to eat what you eat on that Instagram, it's insane.
Oh, if only.
What was it, like a chocolate cake today with
a chocolate pie from the pie hole? Oh, yeah,
the
chocolate
pie
mousse,
hole.
Peanut butter, Oreo cookie crust. Oh, it's so good, guys. All right, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here next Sunday night for another episode of the MacGyver After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.